My name is Larry Garver. I'm a consultant for CBI Telecom Consultants. Part of what I've been asked to do today is to give some tips to small businesses or businesses of any kind really that maybe don't have their arms around their telecom bills. I'm a big believer in Excel documents, so I'm going to suggest an Excel document that would have just 7 columns. Start an Excel document with the vendor name in column A, the account number in column B, and the current charges in column C. The current charges, you're going to want to look at the bill and not enter the total charges due because that may include past due amounts. You're going to want a column for billing telephone numbers because when you do have a question about a phone bill, you're going to want to know who to call, and even if you have several accounts with the same vendor, a particular account may have a different billing contact number than another. You're going to have a column for the contract status of each account, and that's going to be a key part of auditing, of course, is the contract tells you what you should be paying, the invoices are what you're paying, and the audit is just comparing those two things. So you're going to want to get copies of contracts. Hopefully you have them on site. If you don't, that's not uncommon either. You have to contact your vendor and get copies of those. If an account is not under contract, that's a red flag right there that you could probably be doing something better with that particular account on rates and charges. Also, the contract end date is good because it'll let you know when you need to recontract that account. You would get a rude awakening if an account falls off contract. All of a sudden, the price can quadruple. And then a column for just any fixed rates that you might have on a bill. If you have an internet account and you know this T1 is supposed to be charged $500 a month, enter that in there. If you have a long distance account and you know the interstate rates should be 4 cents a minute, enter that in there. These are some key things that you'd want to look for on the contract pricing schedule and terms and conditions that you can drill down a little bit deeper when you're looking at an actual invoice and verify that you're getting the right charges. And you're going to want a column for the payment due date. And I stress this because different vendors have different terms for when your invoice is due to be paid. And a lot of our clients, they run into late payment fee situations simply because they're not getting turned around fast enough. So by having a column that indicates this bill is due to be paid the 15th of every month, you can plan for that and hopefully avoid late payment charges. Now you've go through one full bill cycle populating that information and you've got your list of accounts, all of your telecom bills in one spreadsheet. And then you can start to use that to check in bills the next month. I recommend having a rolling average in that current cost column. Very easy to do with a formula. Enter you'll take your first month bill from when you set up the account, add the new bill in there and divide by 2. And you can do that for several months. And why that's important is because once you have an idea of what this account bills traditionally, if you ever get a bill that's far above that, it's a red flag for you to know that something happened on this account. It's normally $200 a month. All of a sudden I got a bill for $500. What's going on with this invoice? Late payment fees, sometimes it's hard to avoid those depending on how your accounts payable works. One thing I can suggest is working with your vendor. If you have a bill pay date that doesn't fall in line with your accounts payable, call your vendor and see if they can change the bill date for that account. Sometimes the vendor will work with you and they may have another option to send you the bill at a different time of the month so that it's in cycle with your accounts payable. You can avoid late fees in that way. Look for third-party billers. Now this happens on local bills quite often. We see for instance, if you have an AT&T bill, it's for local lines. On the front page there may be a one-line row that says services billed on behalf of ESB Corporation, as though they're not AT&T charges, they're coming from a third-party vendor on your AT&T bill. 9 times out of 10, those are going to be bogus charges, and you're going to want to take that bill, go to that page on the invoice where those third-party charges are itemized. There's usually a separate 800 number for that vendor, and you'll be able to call them, and probably you're going to be disputing that charge. There may be a situation where a third-party bill is valid, but they're worth investigating almost every time. Lastly, one of the things about having this list every month and checking your bills in is you're going to know when a new bill arises. If you have normally 15 bills that you get every month and the next month you get a 16th bill, it's not on your list, immediate red flag. You might wonder how does that happen? Well, one of the common ways we see that is someone in your organization orders a new phone line, they call the local company, order the line, and they say our long-distance carrier is vendor Z. Well, and then that's the end of their transaction. The line gets ordered, installed, the long distance is picked to vendor Z, but if vendor Z is not notified of that, they don't know which account that line's long distance usage should bill on. So it's kind of a two-step process, and many of our clients miss that second step. When that second step is missed, vendor Z has no other choice than to send you an invoice for that usage on a brand new account, and they're usually at very high rates. They're at tariff rates, and they'll stick out. So by having that list of accounts every month, checking in bills, you'll see those new bills, be able to correct a situation like that, notify the vendor to get them added to the correct account.